What up, y'all? It's your boy Kaizen, and this is Unshackled Nightmare. Part 1 was with Zermia the Assailant. This is part 2 with Black-Eyed Sarpoza. OG fans know that Sarpoza used to be a boss when level 95 talismans were the max level gear. Now we have skill evolution. Wow, I'm very old. Moving on, Black-Eyed Sarpoza is one of the bosses from Pandemonium War, and this is the advanced dungeon version of his boss at our level cap. There's an even stronger version of him at the monthly challenge Unshackled Nightmare version, but we'll cover that in another video. For now, we're going to cover the advanced dungeon version of the Unshackled Nightmare, Black-Eyed Sarpoza. Sarpoza has two phases. His first one is going to be an elemental bomber flavored attack patterns. He has one special attack. He has a few special attacks, but they're really easy to get into. Sarpoza's attacks are color coded. Mostly it has to do with this colorful pentagram, and again a bunch of elemental bomber colors. You just generally want to avoid it, on top of your usual red damage zones. Here's one of his normal attack patterns: retrieve. You basically do what he says. You want to retrieve these fire orbs. Any fire orbs that you don't retrieve will explode on contact, so retrieving a good portion will leave you with a safe zone. He also summons a frost field. There's going to be two versions of this. One will have a save zone on it, and immediately you just want to get out of there. Here's another elemental field. There's going to be elemental energy that's crawling through it. You just want to run away from it. And then there's going to be another one that's going to summon underneath you. Again, I'm going to run underneath them. Here's one of his phase 1 gimmicks. I was chosen. He's going to do a string of elemental field attacks. Once you see the elemental field gauge, immediately know that you will have a pentacle following you. To stop this pentacle from following you, you're going to find a white orb. As soon as this gauge fills up, that elemental field is going to expand and explode on contact. Don't get sloppy. There's another second elemental field flash onto you. Immediately look for it to get rid of it. And here comes a third one. This time she's going to be in the center, and you will have one yourself. Immediately look for it amidst all the elemental bombing chaos, and just avoid all the attacks. That's it. You passed one of his gimmicks. Here is the second frost field normal attack pattern. There is a crystal. With a timer on it. You want to basic attack this crystal to create a safe zone around it. Good job. Now his normal attack patterns will include an elemental field. That should be your key to look for a white orb already. And then you kind of want to just mosey on out of there. Another normal attack pattern has you attached with a red damage zone, and there will be a lightning wall that's going to travel from left to right or vice versa. You want to look for the gap in the lightning wall, but at the last second you want to drop the red damage zone to where the lightning wall is going to hit it. That way your safe zone is not going to be hit by this red damage zone. It's gonna happen a few times. Most of the time, if you leave your previous red damage zone as you walk into the safe zone, it's gonna be completely fine, but make sure you do it fast enough and you keep an eye out on the opening for the lightning walls, because if you get hit, you will take a lot of damage and you will be stunned for a long time. You will finally end it with a thunderbolt that's going to cascade outward. A good way of dodging this is if you are directly on his x-axis, you want to be just above or below him so you can stay in this little slice gap. Conversely, if he's a little bit higher or a little bit lower in the map, you can stand on his y-axis and move just a little bit to the left or to the right. Same thing, you want to stay in that gap. That's going to be the safe zone. This is his groggy. You break his neutral gauge, but it does recover pretty fast. So if you're going to use a pretty long awakening chain, just know you may not be able to get all of the damage out. This is his second special attack, Elemental Burst. You will have a color on your character and 4 other colors on the platform. You can see that each of the colors have the entire floor surrounded by that same color, signaling you to stand on it. However, as you stand on it, you will be taken mid-air, clearing the gimmick. You want to do this 4 times, and this height will give you enough time to move your character onto the next color. A good way of doing this is as soon as you stand on a color and it takes you up, you want to stand in the middle. If you don't have a fast reaction, standing in the middle will give you just about an equal distance from the rest of the pads. Again, you want to do this a few more times, clearing each and every one of them. And as soon as you do, you want to dodge some attacks. Pay attention to when they drop. For example, Elemental Burst has a few variations after clearing them. You notice that this red damage zone appears first, and it increases in size, followed by this circle and this circle. Next, you find out that there is a safe zone on it, so that should signal you that each of those circles will give out a safe zone afterwards. So your running pattern is going to be from here to here to there, and then we have another set of elemental bursts to clear. It's purple this time, so we want to jump on the purple. Also want to stand in the fire, the blue, and the yellow. If you take too long, you will take damage, so get hustling. This is another variant after clearing an elemental burst pattern. This is going to be in a pattern of slices. There's going to be a slice that's going to be a safe zone, but worry not, it is not random. This one is going to be in a clockwise or counterclockwise fashion. So since you started at around the 6 o'clock save zone, it's either going to, the next one is either going to be on the 9 o'clock or around the 3 o'clock. Since it's on the 3 o'clock, we can safely assume that the save zones are going to be in a cardinal spot counterclockwise, meaning since we took on the 6 o'clock spot, the next one was at 3, we can assume that the next two save zones are going to be at the 12 and at the 9, or around that area. Here comes the final section of the whole special attack. Here again, you're gonna have 2 elemental bursts, and after each elemental burst has been cleared, you're gonna have some variety of dodging attacks. The third part of that special attack is going to be release impact, in which case you're going to look for a white orb, just like in the elemental field. You take it and it will protect you from the impact. And that is basically it for his phase 1. He will have other varying attacks and patterns regarding it, but they all boil down to the same pattern, to the same gimmick. Elemental Road is just another normal attack. He's going to sporadically spread the elemental flames. You just don't want to touch them before they explode, and you're good to go. After you defeat him, he's going to move on to his second phase. But pay attention, don't just stand there while he's laughing. Second phase, you are going to have the ability to parry. Going to follow the key next to your character. It's always going to be your attack key. For mine, it's the letter D. For you, it varies. So as soon as you see that flash on your character and you see that attack key, press it and you can parry his attack. And phase 2 Sarpoza is a little crazier than the first one. And he's gonna have attacks in combination with parries and jumping and dodging, so you gotta keep moving. Okay, he has a black mist attack that's slowly gonna spread outward. What you want to do is you want to jump inside this area, which is temporarily gonna be a safe zone. And then some of these bombs are going to explode, assuming you don't touch them first like I did. Once they explode, you can use them as your safe zone. The rest of the bombs that didn't explode are not safe, as they will return to him and explode on contact. Anytime it says rift, he's going to jump up and strike the ground. To dodge this attack, you want to jump just before the bar fills up. It's kind of like one of those quake or ground type attacks that you may have been familiar with already. Another parry. Okay, this is one of his special attacks. That expression is priceless. This is gonna be some parries in succession, but notice that there's going to be damaging zones that are closing in and covering the area around Sarpoza. You want to be in the center or really far away from the circle when it happens. And as soon as the bombardment stops, it's gonna cover a good portion of the map with a red damage zone, which is simply avoided. There's gonna be a red pentagram now on the floor. Again, nothing too special, you just want to stay out of it. Occasionally he will attack the entire room, in which case just watch out for a possible parry sequence quick time event. Again, if you see Rift, you want to prioritize this over the other damage zones, because if you are on the floor, even if you are on the save zone, if you are still on the floor when Rift completes its pattern, then you will get hit. So make sure you're in a save zone and then jump just before the Rift pattern completes. Also, there will be times where after he does his Rift attack, you will be prompted for a parry quick time event. So just make sure that in phase 2 you will get hit with a bunch of quick time events. All you gotta do is just hit him. Another normal attack pattern where he spreads the floor with a bunch of red pentagrams. No big deal, you just want to dodge it. Here I break his neutralized gauge and try to do some damage, but just like the first phase, his neutralized gauge is pretty quick. Here's another normal attack pattern. He's going to summon a bunch of red energy orbs and a reticle, a target on your character. To avoid this, you just want to run around because it's gonna home in on you. And dodge them like so. Okay, this is his other special attack. This is going to be a sequence of Rift attacks and parries. So again, you want to watch out for the impact of his Rift. This special attack in combination with Rift, it will give either a save zone on impact or follow it up with another red damage zone. This one is a Rift and then a parry sequence, and then we find out after the explosion that it becomes a safe zone. Also, you wanna don't be like me and stay close to the Rift explosion because you're gonna get hit. So we avoid the Rift by jumping and then parry sequence, and then we find out that after the explosion of the Rift, that area becomes a red damage zone, so we want to run away from it. Another Rift attack followed by a parry, and then that impact becomes a safe zone. As you can see, it covers the entire room, so you want to get a move on. And then another Rift, and then a small localized red damage zone. So he's going to do that 4 times, and then he's gonna surround the center with a bunch of red damage zones, prompt you for a parry, and again, you just want to avoid these red puddles, and you're good. And again, Black Mist, you want to jump over it before it explodes. Stay in the safe area before the balls go back to him. jump over the rift. If you're prompted by the quick time event, parry with your attack key, and that's pretty much it. And you're doing all of this while your timer is going down. Also, if you get hit one too many times, this special bar will appear, and it's basically gonna make everything harder for you. So try to avoid Sarpoza's attacks. If you manage to successfully perform the quick time event, if you're able to parry, you'll able to reduce the gauge, and you're that much further away from getting insta killed. Here's a repeat of his first special attack. Again, we're just pressing parry, 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 and then just dodge everything. That's it. No big deal. Another targeting normal attack pattern. Just want to run around and dodge it. Again, if you get hit by his attacks, you're gonna increase this gauge, so be mindful of it. And that's it for Sarpoza. Not too shabby. I think, in my opinion, Zermio is a lot better in terms of fighting versus Sarpoza. When it comes to Zermio, it uses a remix of boss patterns that were performed in Moonsubmerged Lake, and it enables the player to, assuming that they cleared Moonsubmerged Lake good amount of times, it's going to help them connect the dots in a way and say, oh, I'm familiar with this gimmick. It happened with the same bosses in Moonsubmerged Lake. Maybe I have an advantage at reacting better to the gimmicks, as opposed to Sarpoza, which is almost a wild card to most people and not ever expecting a parry quick time event. It's your boy Kaizen. That's it for me. I know the guides for these videos are definitely outdated, but I know some of you guys are still trying to figure out how to take care of these bosses, especially at higher threshold values. The only difference in clearing a lower threshold value as opposed to a higher threshold value is the damage. You can absolutely nail the gimmicks, you can clear the patterns and dodge everything, but you only have 10 minutes to defeat the boss, and if you don't, then there's no shame in lowering the threshold value. It is of course a good way of figuring out how much Doom Oracles that you can obtain because of the threshold value, and as you get stronger you'll be able to increase that threshold. It's your boy Kaizen, and I am not too timing you. This is gonna be a three-peat. I'm gonna try to come out with more videos more regularly and more consistently. Thank you guys so much for watching and tuning in. Stick around, I got plenty more ideas. Peace.